This girl. I know if I lived in Texas, we'd be out getting barbecue every day and talking all things big business and making our dreams happen. Let me introduce you to Whitney Kilpatrick, winner of the Hairstyle, the Talent Show, and current salon owner in Fort Worth, Texas. This episode is like two babes having a good time, sharing the tea on what it's really like behind the scenes of TV and salon ownership. Go check it out. Are you a beauty or barber pro looking for that push to do that thing you've always wanted to do, whether it's in or out of the salon, spa, or shop? Are you tired of not feeling good enough, smart enough, skilled enough? Are you tired of not getting a handle on your mental health, boundaries, and insecurities? I'm Christine Sherwood, the BeautyPro coach, an internationally certified coach, a salon and spa owner, and your personal Jiminy Cricket. I use my own experiences, good and bad, as a salon owner to help you be more self-aware, authentic, and forward-thinking in your approach to life, in and out of the salon. It's time to reach your version of success with the BeautyPro Coach podcast. Okay, we are here with Miss Whitney Kilpatrick. And you might have heard of her name from the Hairstylist TV show that was out. I think that's the name of the show, right, Whitney?
Yes, it's Hairstyle, the talent show on Discovery
Oh,
Plus.
this talent show on Discovery Plus. My bad. But anyway, you're here. Welcome.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
I am so excited. So, just kind of tell everybody, like, I know people are going to be so excited, like, oh my God, she was on TV, shut the front door. So tell everybody, like, who you are, what you do, like, how did you get on that show?
So, I'm a hairstylist and a salon owner from Fort Worth, Texas. And yes, woohoo, yeehaw. Um, and I had a shampoo rep come by and tell me that because we use Alpha Parf Milano products in the salon. It's an Italian boutique Italian line.
Mhm.
And she came in the salon and was like, "Hey, they are like hosting this like hairstylist competition TV show." And I am a Tabitha fan. Like
Me too,
I
girl.
love
Me too,
Tabitha.
girl. Love her.
Like yeah, like that's what I watched in hair school because
Mhm.
they would get bored and they'd just put Tabitha on the TV. And I'm like, great, cool. So I've watched I bought all of the old Sheer Genius like seasons.
Yes.
Like I watched Tabitha get her start. So I was like, I have been telling people forever, like we need an Ink Masters or a Master Chef for hair. So when this presented itself, it was like a no-brainer. I'm like, I have got to audition, like, of course. But thought it was a long shot, I'm like, okay, whatever, I'll send in an audition um and then one thing led to another. They were like, we need you to come to New York and do a live audition. I was like, oh shit, okay, like
Yeah, this is real.
okay. And then yeah, and then I went there and I did the it was like a practical piece. So we had to do a fantasy updo in 30 minutes. And I really thought I was done for when the girl behind me had twinkle lights installed in her fantasy updo in
Oh,
30 minutes. And people brought props. I was like, how are you prepared for this? Like, what? You brought
right,
props?
right.
So I didn't think I made it, but I did get the call back. I was like, okay, so one thing, just keep going. And then they it was like 3 or 4 weeks after the New York audition, they sent an email out and they picked 12 people, me included, to fly out to Spain to film the TV show in like 6 weeks. So then I'm like mad dash. I'm like, I have to get a whole new wardrobe. But I couldn't even really get excited about it because it was only there was 12 people that were invited to Spain, but only 10 were going to be on the show, and nobody knew who the alternate was going to be.
Oh,
So that was a little dicey. I'm like, I don't even want to post about it. I don't really want to like tell
Mhm.
everybody because like what if I'm the alternate? And one person didn't get their passport in time, so they didn't make it. So then it was just gonna be one alternate, and thank God it wasn't me. But I did for a moment there, I did think there was four redheads and there was six girls or maybe seven girls and four guys. So I was like, it's gonna be a redheaded girl. I just know it. They're gonna X-nay one redheaded girl. And they did. Thankfully, it wasn't me. So that's kind of how it happened.
That's like so awesome. So like you get on the show and are you totally like your mental health must have been like up and down, up and down, up and down, like the whole time, the whole 6 weeks.
Yes, yeah. So, I mean, leading up to it, definitely, I was like, oh God. I think I was more excited and naive the
Mm.
6 weeks leading up to it. I was like, this is going to be fun. I was watching all the Sheer Geniuses taking notes, like, okay, what kind of challenges could I get? And then I would like get a mannequin out and be like, okay, I need to practice this, like what if they give us a 20s? I need to know the difference between 20s hair versus 30s hair and 80s hair. And, like, so I was really just trying to practice and like I was like, what if they give us K-tips, So I started practicing K-tips. So really leading up to it, and I was doing a lot of shopping, which was really fun. And so I'm like 6 weeks leading up to it was actually fun, the anticipation. And then my family wasn't super supportive because
Mhm.
there was no season one. This is like they're like, oh, they're gonna fly you to Spain for a TV show. They're like, we don't have anything to look, like what they were very confused and like really thought I was getting myself human trafficked. And
Oh.
so like they thought I was gonna get myself stolen. So my husband like put an air tag in my bra and he wrote down the US embassy's like phone number and address on a piece of paper because he's like, what if they take your phone? Like I wore my running shoes to the airport because I'm like, they literally told me some guy is gonna pick me up in a van at the airport and take me to the hotel in Spain, and I flew out there by myself. So
Oh, girl. Lord have mercy.
I'm like,
Continue.
I hope so, like
Yeah,
I
like
I don't know where I'm going.
she's
Like,
like prepped.
uh,
She's ready to run. Like,
literally, I was like, if I need to run, I brought my running shoes. So I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I'm going out here. I'm hoping this is, like
yeah.
for real. And so that whole part was crazy. And then we met our castmates. We came in on a Friday and we didn't start filming till a Monday. So we had time to meet our castmates. And at first, it was like, okay, fun. This is great. I had met a couple of them at the audition process. So, like, I had known that, we had like followed each other on Instagram. We'd started
Mhm.
getting talking. And then, like, the closer it got to Monday, people started saying things like, so who do you think is going to be the first one to go home? And, like, then things started to bubble. And I was like, oh, this is getting weird. Like, this is getting weird. I was like, I'm
Yeah.
not getting involved. I'm keeping my mouth shut. Like, I don't want to be the drama. And so I really thought going into it that, like, okay, this is a new generation of hairstylists. This is not going to be a dog eat dog kind of situation. Like we go in, we do our best work and let the best hairstylist win.
Mhm.
And it just ended up not being like that, at least for me. There was one girl in particular. We're cool now, but if you've watched the show, episode 3 is spicy. Um,
I'm gonna
we
go
got
watch it.
into
I
it.
remember when it first came out and I was like, oh my God, I gotta watch it. And then life happened and I did. I forgot about it. But I'm gonna
But
go watch it. I'm gonna go find the episodes and watch it. And just
yes,
so
yeah.
you know, like you are the second guest on the Beauty Pro podcast to totally name drop Tabitha. And so I am just going to be like, Tabitha, you need to come on the show already. I'm just saying. But anyway, go ahead.
Yes, please. Well, I tagged her in because one of the interviews for the TV show, they asked me like something I mentioned Tabitha and she commented on the post. I was like, I could die now. I could die now. Like
Yeah, like we're good.
Tabitha commented. So yes, so maybe we can get Tabitha
Come
out at
on,
some point. Be
Tabitha.
like, please.
Come on, baby.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
yes. She's awesome. I love her. So and that was like she was just really my inspiration where I was like, okay, well,
Mhm.
she got her start on a competition show and then she got her own show. So I'm like, I have my ideas and I'm like, I'm really channeling my inner Tabitha.
Oh,
So she's been a
girl.
huge inspiration.
We are manifesting big things. I am so excited for you and this whole entire like experience that you had because Tabitha was a big inspiration why I became the Beauty Pro coach. So, because of her show, Tabitha takes over, and I was like, "Oh my God, she is so badass. I want to be that way." Like it was awesome. So, yes, shout out to Tabitha. So, with this experience, you mentioned so many like really good points. Like, for instance, like we're so excited and we're so happy to meet other beauty pros and like be doing the same thing and like be together. And then as soon as it gets serious, like the claws come out.
Mhm.
So, like, what would be, I guess, your advice now that you have this experience to other hairstylists when it comes to being like drama and catty, and what's your advice?
I would say, so if I'm speaking to the like, because I feel like there's the ones who attack and then there's the ones
Hmm.
who are attacked. And if I'm speaking to the ones who are the attackers,
Hmm.
therapy. You need to work on yourself.
Yes.
Like like you need to figure out what is triggering you to like put other people down to make yourself feel better
Hmm.
because that's not okay and it's doing more damage than you think it is.
Hmm.
Um but if I'm talking to the people being attacked, I don't really have the best advice because I really tried so hard to like be supportive. Like even though this woman was coming for me, like I mean, it was all off camera at first. Like, I mean, I would win a challenge and she would be like, we would get in the van to go back to the hotel and she'd be like, I didn't think you deserved to win that. I think so and so deserved it. I mean, like immediately. And then she told me, you look really like the only reason your hair is because you look pretty and you look good on TV. Like, so she would just like lay into
Good
me. And
Lord.
I mean, even through all of that, I would stay strong of like, oh my gosh, you think I'm pretty? Like, thank you. Or like I would just like keep my mouth shut when she said stuff about like, oh, I think so and so deserved to win that competition. And even to the point where like I had other castmates coming to me saying like, your name was in her mouth all night last night. And or she would say something like she told me in front of everybody, said that my first haircut looked like Lord Farquaad, which she's not entirely wrong about the comment, but it's still kind of an asshole move. And one
Yeah.
of my other castmates in the van like grabbed my leg and squeezed my leg because he knew like, hey, that was messed up, but like I'm here for you in a silent
Hmm.
way.
Hmm.
Um, and so I think that would be my best advice to the people who are feeling maybe a little attacked by other people in the industry is just try to stay strong. Don't return evil with evil. Like really, keep face and don't let them pull you into that like bad
Hmm.
behavior of attacking each other. And then yeah, for the people who are, if you notice that you're getting into arguments or drama is just always around you and you don't really realize why, therapy, like figure it out and work on yourself because everybody needs it and
Hmm.
we can all be a better version of ourselves if we could realize what those triggers are and realize why.
Hmm.
And me and Dina are cool now. We had a lot of a growth and conversation that happened afterwards, but she had mentioned that I just reminded her of the pretty popular girls in high school that bullied her. And
Oh.
she like started to feel threatened by me and like that is why she ended up acting out in the way she did. And so like we came full circle about it. Like the first time she apologized to me, it was like, I'm so sorry you're from Texas and I'm from Jersey and we just communicate differently. Like that was like the first apology. And I was like, no, girl, you don't have to be an asshole.
No,
Like
it's okay.
and so then it like, and then the second and the third apology, like it started coming around when other people in the cast started mentioning, like, no, you have been bullying her since we got here. And then then she was like realizing, like, oh, okay, and so it came full circle for sure, but definitely I didn't feel like I had a lot of friends during that process. I felt very alone. And I was so thankful we were not in a house together because I think I would have lost it. Like, I think I would have lost it. I'm so glad I had my hotel room to go back to and like call my husband and be like, this is what happened today. Like, what the heck is going on? So like overall, I'm really proud of myself. I really learned, like, I've been married since I was 19. So
Okay.
and I was with my husband since I was 16. So I haven't done a lot of things without him.
Mm.
And so to go to a foreign country by myself, to like put myself in this situation where I'm feeling pretty alone and like to conquer it and be on the other side of it, I really felt proud of myself and I had built a lot of confidence in myself. So overall, I'm really proud of the process and I had a lot of fun. I met Shakira's hairstylist. I
Oh,
met Nikki and Rihanna who do like Hillary Duff and Julianne Hough, like they're all of, I met them and so I was such a cool experience overall. And now, all of the castmates I'm really close with still. We have a group message and we all talk. And so it's come full circle for sure. But it was definitely, I mean, just think about every sensation you have, every emotion you have times 1,000. So if you're really happy, it's awesome. It's euphoric. Like the first time I walked on set, I was like, wow, I thought I was getting human trafficked, but now here I am, crazy set where there's, flying cameras and there's these, mic guys that are miking us up and the set just, I mean, I'd never seen anything like that before. We were on the same set as Master Chef Project Runway. And so to see like how it really goes down, like a peek behind the curtain. I mean, that
mm.
was the crazy euphoric kind of sense. And then when they pull everybody's models up to like roast your work, your whole stomach drops, the blood leaves your face. I mean, it just ends up being like, hyperventilating
Yeah.
moment. And so it's like everything's just magnified. So, but overall, I mean, it was a once in a lifetime experience that I'm like so, so, so grateful for.
Oh my God. Yeah, you learned so much about yourself and your own skill set and how to like that was a crash course in everything we face on a day-to-day basis with people behind the chair. So that is awesome.
Yeah, and that's what I was worried about too, because I grew up doing suburban women's hair, like
Hmm.
just the regular mom, her hair. Like I can do some great lived in looks. I can like do some beach waves that will like, that you couldn't replicate at home. But like that's my comfort zone, that's my specialty, that's what I do. And so then I was worried like, I can do some bridal hair, but like, it's not it's not, I couldn't just whip up anything.
Right.
And so I was worried about like the avant-garde side of
Hmm.
things, like, okay, what if the fashion, the session work, the that kind of stuff, like am I going to be able to perform at that level? And I actually had such a good time. I think it was episode 4 or 5. I had this most beautiful model who had red hair, which I'm just obsessed with already.
Same.
And I did, yeah,
Hey.
I did this. Yep. We love our gingers. Um, and we did this like crazy ponytail mohawk situation where I gave her like faux bangs and like it came all the way down the back with like this
Love it.
long, like we put extensions in. And I just was like, I was so worried about the session work. And then I had this like opportunity to do it and I just impressed myself. And so that has kind of spurred some other projects for me where I'm like, us hairstylists need more opportunities to do hair outside of the box. Like we have to
Hmm.
do hair in real life to pay the bills and have our clientele, but like not a lot of people are going to pay you to do a faux mohawk with
Right.
extensions, like
Right.
they're going to ask you to take it down before they leave because they're not just going to go to their, Target run with it. So I've been working on, okay, like how are there other ways that every hairstylist can get involved and like being more creative and getting that like creative side out so that we can kind of really, exercise that muscle.
I love that. So would you encourage stylists to get into competitions? Because that's what it sounds like, but I just want to confirm.
Yes, yeah. And so I'm trying I don't know of many that are out there. And so I've been trying to work on like maybe I need to host one in Dallas Fort Worth and like bring together some sort of fashion show and bring in all the creatives here and have them like show their best work and have them walk down the runway and have prizes and things like that. So I just don't see that very often. So if they're out there, yes, do it. Like push yourself out of your comfort zone, go do those things. You'll impress yourself and you'll, you know, even if it's like you're being creative in a way that you don't necessarily see that's like beneficial to you behind the chair, I think it is beneficial because you're
Mhm.
getting comfortable being uncomfortable. And then you can maybe say, okay, maybe I'll try a different foil pattern. Maybe
Mhm.
I'll try a different formula. Um,
Yeah,
and even just getting yourself out there in other ways will help behind the chair as well.
I love it. Okay, so speaking of being uncomfortable, I know before we started recording this episode, you were going through something, earlier on, because this is our second like appointment, I guess, if you will. But what are some struggles that you are going through or have gone through that have really paid off now?
So I have had this whole journey of being going from hairstylist to salon owner to having a team, and then helping other people build their salon teams. I mean, it has been a journey. And although it's been fun, I've had lots of fun. It's been super fulfilling. There has been super, super low points of like where I really question my life choices. And I'm
Mm,
like, wow, I could just be doing hair in a suite by myself, making great money and not having any of this responsibility. And then I like come back to reality. I'm like, okay, you wouldn't be having fun though. You like to be
mhm,
challenged. You want to be doing, continue to grow. I don't think I could just sit in a spot and be happy there long term. And so, but definitely I would say the hardest thing I've been going through like in the most recent phase is team. Like
mm,
that's been the hardest thing for me is having I'm not, and I tell this when I do my phone interviews, I'm like,
mhm,
I'm not building a good team. I'm not even building a great team. I am building an elite team. Like I'm looking for the best of the best, the people who want to make a difference, the people who want to show the world that us women can work together in a positive, supporting, uplifting environment.
mm,
And we really want to show the hair industry a better way to build a commission style salon and make an impact there. And so I've really had, um, as my mission has evolved. I mean, I started out with in a suite with one assistant, and then that assistant became a stylist, and I had another assistant. And this was just me figuring it out as I went. Like,
mhm,
I was even advised by my first tax person to pay my employees on a 1099, which is illegal in Texas, at least. I don't know about other states, but in Texas, that's illegal. But my tax person advised it because it would save me tax dollars to not pay them on a W-2. So for 6 months, I did that unknowingly. And then I got a lawyer and he was like, yeah, that's illegal. I was like, oh, cool. Hey guys, we're changing things.
yeah,
So it's been that whole evolution of like, okay, I didn't know better. Now I know better. Now we're changing things.
mhm,
And so some people I have my first employee ever is still with me from 2019. So she's been through a lot of the changes and she's just down for whatever. She's like, I trust you. You lead the way. I'm here. I'm like, she's my right hand woman for sure. But there's been people that we've picked up along the way that weren't not necessarily on the same mission as we are now,
mm,
because when they joined the team we weren't at that level. And
mhm,
so we've had to do a lot of sifting. They've left, we've had to let go of a few, and and I'm really just trying to curate the best possible team, to where everybody, like we had a situation where there started to be a clique forming and and some negative talk and some complaining. And I remember my first salon owner was very passive aggressive, and she would just hire anybody who wanted the job. And it caused me and five other of their top stylists to leave because she wasn't bold enough to cut the bad apples off the tree. It caused the good apples to bounce.
mhm.
She actually told me word for word, donkeys run with donkeys and thoroughbreds run with thoroughbreds, and that it's lonely at the top. And so I said, okay, well, I gave it a month and I was like, okay, you hired a bunch of donkeys and
I'm a Mustang. I'll see you later.
yeah, I gotta go. And so that's kind of what forced me out. It just wasn't a good, but I'm so thankful for that
Mhm.
experience at my first salon because I did learn a lot of great things, but I also learned what I didn't want. She
Mhm.
was not a great leader. She just didn't have the boldness, the decisiveness, and the directness to cultivate that elite, you know, team of people
Mhm.
where she just was keeping anybody on the team, and didn't foster that positive environment and wasn't like nipping things in the bud when things were, people were disrespectful or bullying others. Like she wasn't willing to like really coordinate that. And so I learned a lot of things from that as far as like that's what I want to change in my environment. Like that's how I want to use that as fuel to say we're not going to be like that. We're going to be different. And so even though it's hard to have crucial conversations with
Mhm.
people and have those hard conversations, I look back at that and I remember how I felt as the really good top performing stylist in that salon, how it made me feel. And I'm like, I can't do that to my
Mhm.
top performing stylist at my salon. Like, I have to make sure that they know I'm looking out for them and their work environment by having those uncomfortable conversations with stylists and coaching them to be better. And if they can't grow and be better with us, then they can't stay with us.
I love that. So you mentioned a lot, and I'm so excited because I want to touch on these points. But I think one of the questions that a lot of salon owners who are listening who might want to know, like when it comes to those cliques that form, how do you, as the owner, kind of break that up?
So the first click I noticed is when we had 10 people. And I did a team bonding event. We went and rented a big house on a river and we floated the river together. And I think that's important because
Mhm.
I would not have known what was going on because when I'm in the salon, I'm usually doing hair
Yeah.
or I'm like meeting with somebody. I'm not paying attention too much, which I have learned. I need to be at the salon not doing anything and paying
Hmm.
attention. And
Yeah.
it feels unproductive to me. I'm like, I need to be crossing off stuff on my to-do list, but I know now that that's more productive than one might think.
Hmm.
But at this event is when I was able to clearly see, oh, like we had a bunch of new people and I had some like my third, fourth, and fifth in seniority, they weren't making themselves available to the new people. And I'm like, hey, I just noticed they were separating themselves from the group a little bit more. And I was like, okay, I don't like this. Like this was a team bonding event and you weren't team bonding. So,
Right.
hello. Um, and so when we got back to the salon, I pulled each of them individually and I was like, hey, just really I'm disappointed with the way this went down. Like I trusted you guys to be my senior stylist, and that you guys would welcome and spend time and get to know these new stylists on our team. Like they're brand new. They're not going to feel comfortable going to you. Like you need to make them feel comfortable by going to them.
Hmm.
And ask them like, is there anything else going on? Are you happy? Let me know. Like we always have this open door policy, like what's going on? Is there other things that are going on that are causing you to like not wanting to be involved? And they acted like everything was fine. And then a month later, two of them left. And I think that conversation kind of spurred it, which is fine, totally fine. Like if me having that conversation spurred them to leave, great. That's what needed to happen. Like they weren't willing to be in alignment with the culture that I wanted, and
Hmm.
they moved themselves, which at the time was really hurtful. I was like, what the heck? I mean, totally blindsided. One girl texted for the both of them. They texted me at 11 p.m. after I was already asleep. They came into the salon overnight with the lights off and was in my computer system for over an hour, deleting appointments, deleting phone number. Like, yes, crazy. So it was super hurtful. The text message was scathing. And then, I mean, the girl who quit, I mean, she called our salon toxic. And then I really lost it because I was like, am I delusional? Like, am I
Right.
I want to create a positive environment. Am I not? So immediately I sent out a team survey, an anonymous team survey. And I was like, this is anonymous. You guys let me know. Like, if I am not creating what we're setting out to create, I need to know. Like, I want to know the blind
Hmm.
spots. Like, give it to me straight, guys. Like, this is what we're creating here is a salon built by hairstylists for hairstylists. And if I'm not executing, I want to know. But the team survey came back great. And what I had to settle with in my mind was that my positive salon environment could simultaneously be toxic for somebody who doesn't align with our values and our
Mm,
mission. And so I think
amen
this
for
toxic
that.
salon, yeah, I think this toxic salon thing gets thrown around a lot. And so it feels like overused. And it's like, it could be positive for one person, but toxic for the other. Like, I fully believe that my first salon was toxic for me, but there was people that stayed there for 9 years. Like, it wasn't toxic for them. It was
Mm,
toxic for me. So that's what I have been teaching to now is when you're hiring, you have to hire with common values, common goals, and common like character. That's who you're hiring and that's who's going to be with you long term. It's not like, can they do good hair? Are they, do they have good social skills? It's like that matters for sure, but like it's more so, are we in alignment?
mhm.
Because we're a growth oriented salon. So I will be pushing you to grow and be better on a personal level as well as a professional level. And for somebody who doesn't want to do that, that could feel toxic
I
if
love,
they don't want to
yeah,
be.
100%. And I love what you're saying because as a salon owner myself, I remember going through that and being accused of being a toxic environment. This was like during COVID. And you're like, what do you do? You're like, you're as an owner, you're trying to keep up to like save the business and like save everybody's lives and like follow the law. And then following the law like of America at that time, it was considered toxic as a salon owner. You know what I mean? Because that's
Mhm.
what you're saying too. It's like, wait, what? And you're doing the check-ins and you're doing all of that. And I know that happens to so many of us salon owners. And then the stylists too, like exactly what you said. Like if you are not on the same page, you gotta go because it's not gonna work for you or the owner, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's
And
so
that's
true.
so, yeah. And so that's what happened. So the two that left, in a pretty criminal way, there was two that stayed that were buddies with them. And like the two that stayed knew they were leaving, didn't say anything, knew they were coming in overnight, didn't say anything. And so there was some trust broken there. And like, I can't
Hmm.
tell them to pick sides. Like, I know that they were put in a bad situation by the two that left. So I get it. But it caused there to be a distrust with these other two. And they were continually publicly posting hanging out with them. And I'm like, how can you hang out with somebody who hates the job you work at so much and you not also start to rub off? And then even though those two were gone, I saw that clique reforming with those two as the spearhead, like the ones
Mm.
keeping it. The attitude, they started complaining about having an 8 a.m. client. They started complaining about having a 3:30 client. And I'm like, are we not here to do hair? Like,
Hmm.
what's the holdup? So, and that's the part of like observing, like being there and really observing really helps you nail down those little things before it spreads. Because
Yeah.
if it starts spreading, that's when it gets really out of control. And you're like, I can't let go of my whole team. But if you know, hey, this is the root of the problem here. And so it just got to the point where I was like, I don't think we're in alignment anymore. And I think you'd be better off in a different salon. And so I ended up having, it was 6 months later, and I really tried hard and I love them both and I wish them both the most success in the
Hmm.
world, but it just wasn't working out at our salon. And I had to make that hard decision of it's time for us to part ways.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've had confirmation after confirmation after confirmation after they've left that we've made a really good choice and everybody feels lighter. And now we know that the team we have right now, everybody's on board with the mission. There's no resistance. There's nobody complaining or like not really on board with everything. And so it was a crazy hard time for me. I mean, I was waking up thinking about it. I was going to sleep thinking about it. I was screaming into a pillow about
Mm.
it. Uh,
Mm.
but I mean, it is one of those things that the hard decision, your current staff will respect you far more for protecting their work environment. And so I know that I've made the right choice.
Yeah. And part of that, like as an owner or even listener, if you're an independent, like a suite stylist, Knowing yourself is what helps you, knowing yourself, being self-aware of what you want, the mission, your end goal is going to like trim the edges for you. You're going to keep going, and people who are meant to be there, they will find you. They will be attracted to that.
Yes, and if you're a stylist listening and you're looking for a salon, don't just apply and get the first one that gives you the job, take the job. Like I try to teach people, when you're applying for jobs, it's just as much an interview for them, the salon, as it is for
Hmm.
you. So make sure you have your core values, like what's important to you,
Hmm.
defined. And then when you go to look for your salon home, even if you're a suite rental, hey, go into that place of business and really
Yeah.
look around and say, is this in alignment? Is this the kind of experience I want my guests to have? Is this the kind of place? Do I admire this person? Do I respect this person? Is this the person I want to like be spearheading my career?
Mhm.
And so I think that's really important to be self-aware of what's important to you, your values, your mission, and make sure you're in alignment with that as the salon owner and as the stylist.
Yeah, absolutely. So, with all of that being said, how do you nourish yourself?
I'm working on that one. I'm like I'm a diagnosed workaholic. Like I love
Okay.
working. I love building. I love pouring into my stylist. I am in love with that journey that I do have to like my poor husband is very supportive, but he is like, "Hey, can I request you for a date? Can I get on the schedule?" Um Yeah, yes,
Oh.
we can get you on the schedule. But what I did realize with like the people who have been removed or removed themselves from my team, the first two, I was really hurt because I was like, I gave up everything. Like I
Yeah.
put my blood, sweat, and tears into
Mm.
this business to make it what it is, and they threw it away like it was nothing.
Mhm.
They left the opportunity. They didn't thank me for anything. I'm like,
Yeah.
I taught you everything. I was your first job out of school. Like I taught you everything. And what I realized is they didn't ask me to do that.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's so true.
They
We
didn't
take it,
ask me to do that.
right. We take it personal, but they're just like, whatever, just pay me.
Yeah.
You know?
And so I realized I can't sacrifice
Yeah.
myself, my health, my fitness, my time with my family, my time
Mhm.
with my friends. I can't sacrifice that as to build this business, to build this team because they didn't ask me to do that. And it makes the burn a lot less worse when I've prioritized what's important to me.
Right.
If somebody chooses to move on, I'm not saying I gave up all of this for you. It's like, no, I've prioritized myself. I took care of myself already. So whatever decisions you make aren't affecting me because I didn't give that up. So this year in particular, I've been really prioritizing my fitness, my health. I gained like 30 pounds when I was building the salon. I mean, I
Wow.
just wasn't taking care of myself. I was
Mm.
eating out all the time. I was not prioritizing the gym. I was like, I don't have time. I'm building a salon.
Hmm.
So now I'm like, the gym's important. My meal prep is important. My time with my husband is important. My time with my friends and family. Like I have to prioritize that and make some of my stylists will be like, are you going to be here tomorrow? I'm like, no, I'm not going to be here tomorrow, but I'll see you on Friday. Like I will
Yeah.
be here, but I'm not going to be here every single day. And I'm not going to be here all day, every day. Like I have to prioritize those things. And then it makes it a lot less easy when when things do go right. You're like, hey, I've already checked off my boxes. So for me, it's
Right.
mostly time to myself, spending on myself. I don't like the self-care word gets overused a lot. People
Mm.
think like, oh, you get a massage. I'm like, for me, self-care means like I shaved my legs and I took a shower. Like,
Yeah.
like
Yes.
I
Like
went to
the
the gym.
basics. Right.
Yeah.
Uh,
Like that is self-care for me. It's like I don't need the frou-frou stuff. It's more like that to me. Like getting my nails done is more of a chore. I love my nail girl, but like that's something I like have to keep doing. But
right.
like it's not like, oh, I'm pampering myself with my nails. It's like, no, I have to keep my nails on because they'll fall off with all the water my hands are in all the time.
Right.
Um, so that more prioritizing the actual self-care as in like taking a shower, going to the gym, washing your hair, maybe doing a hair mask if you're feeling frisky.
Right, exactly. Go crazy, baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what is an insult that you have gotten that you are so proud of?
Ooh, that's a good question. Hmm. I guess a reoccurring insult that I get that I used to be a little bit self-conscious about
Mhm.
was my bluntness. People would be like, "Oh, you're harsh." And I've learned to be I am a very I'm not a sugarcoater. Like I'm gonna get shoot you straight.
Mhm.
And I've learned to do that kind of whoever I'm talking to based on their sensitivity level,
Mm.
being able to like approach them in a way where I'm not hurting their feelings. But I think now I'm so proud of that because I know that the truth can hurt sometimes, but I know that I'm doing them a favor. Like if I don't know my blind spots, if people like that's why I have a coach for myself, right? Like
Mhm.
I know I have blind spots. I need somebody to tell me them, and I know that I'm not doing anybody a favor. Like we have a 90-day probationary period, and I tell them, be prepared during your 90 days. I will be course correcting you in a respectful way, of course, but it's because I care about you. Because if I didn't care, I wouldn't tell you. And I'd
Mm.
be like, she's not a good fit next. But instead, I'm saying, hey, let's work on this. Hey, I need to see some adjustments here. Hey, can you tweak your wording here? That way I'm helping them along their journey. So I think at first I was a little bit taken aback, like, oh my God, like I don't want to be, mean or, I was a little bit like, maybe I should tone myself down. Um, but now I know like my bluntness is really a gift and it's a gift for other people because so many people go through life blind and you do need that person sometimes that will just bring you back down to earth and shoot you straight and be like, no, like I don't know if you listen to Mel Robbins, but
Mhm.
I
I
love
love
her.
her.
And I feel like I feel like she's that way. And she had one about waking up early because I'm trying to wake up earlier. And she has one, it's like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get your ass out of bed. And I'm like, I want that on recording and I want it to like actually go off in the morning on my alarm clock because
Yeah.
that kind of does it for me. I know some people don't take that as well or, need a wake up, sweetie pie.
Oh, I
But for
can't.
me,
I
I'm like five,
can't
four,
with
three,
that.
two, one. Yeah, get your ass out of
Yeah, like
bed.
get up. I know, I know, I know. I feel like we are very much similar in that, where I have had to learn as well. Like, I don't have to change myself, like my core stuff. I'm not saying to anybody listening, oh, well, just, take me as I am and you're like a nasty person. No, you have to be real with yourself, be kind. And in your kind, loving self, you can be honest, and if that's blunt to you, I'm sorry, but that's the truth. Like that's what one of my mottos for my coaching clients and even the podcast is the truth will set you free. And so it's going to hurt, it's going to sting, and then you're going to be fine. Then you're going to be healed and then you're going to keep going. So, anyway,
Yes, I
what
a
is
thousand percent agree.
yes, thank you. So what's okay, this question I feel like anybody else in the world who's not a beauty or barber pro, they have like an attitude problem. So what as a beauty and barber pro myself, like we deal with people all the time. I feel like we are
Mhm.
experts at body language and um what is the word I'm looking for? Like talking to people. So what is a lesson that you have learned in this industry that you wish everyone and their mother who's not in the industry would learn and do?
Okay, the first thing that comes to mind
Uh-huh.
is
Mm,
open-mindedness. Because I think that that's such a skill that I have, I mean, you're kind of thrown into it, right? Like
right.
especially when you're first starting out, like my first salon had a ton of walk-ins, call-ins. So it was just any type of person. I feel like now more days when you have a good social media following, you're really kind of getting a target market, like a more
Mhm,
niche down type of client. But
mhm.
for those of you who are like in the building phase, you're taking anybody. You're like,
Yeah.
I don't care what you do. I don't care what you want. I don't care what service it is. I'm here for it. And so and I think it's been one of my best superpowers is like learning to talk to any type of person and
Mhm.
finding common ground. And I feel like I've learned so much. I mean, there's so much wisdom in everybody. Everybody's gone through life. They've got their wins and their losses. And so I think that's built me into such a great person. And then I know I could talk to anybody, and I know that I could find commonality with anybody. And I think in our world outside of the beauty world, we're in such a polarized environment
Yeah.
politically, that
Yeah.
I'm like, guys, I think we're all more purple than we think. Like, I don't think anybody is so crazy extreme. I think we all have commonness between us, and we're
Mhm.
humans and we're Americans, and we can work together on like fixing the shit show that is the government in the world. And so if I could take our soft skills we've learned behind the chair and be like, guys, we can find common ground with anybody. Please, let's find common ground.
Yeah.
I think maybe we would have world peace.
We would have world peace. I feel like the next like senator, congressman, whatever, like those big players that are making the, I feel like they need to like go through hair school, and
Yes.
like learn how to be kind. So,
Yeah, where's the petition? I'll sign it right now.
right. So, oh my goodness. Um, Time is like flying. Okay. So, what is a myth that you get a lot of times about what you do, whether as an owner, stylist, being on TV?
Right. Well, I feel like the biggest one is the owner. I
Mm.
think I see a lot of like I've seen Instagram reels or TikToks about like these stylists who are like my salon owner was driving a Range Rover with a new set of tits, and I'm over here working 40 hours a week to make her rich. And
Oh,
I'm like, I wish you could like live a week in my shoes. I'm like, my salon has been open, like the brick and mortar part of it has been open for a year, and we're not profitable yet. Like, we've grown crazy. Our numbers have grown, our revenue has grown. But like,
hmm
I don't make any money from it. Like, this is a
hmm
passion project right now. So I'm not getting rich off of everybody's work. If anything, I'm the one working for $0 an hour. And I tell people this all the time. Like, I have not made more per hour since I worked for somebody else. When I worked for somebody else, that first salon I was at, I was 21 years old, and at the end of that year, I made $165,000 on a W-2, like on a W-2. That was my commission split.
yeah.
And I worked 4 days a week. No responsibilities, no
hmm
payroll, no inventory, no one-on-ones. Like, I didn't have a team to manage. And now I work for $0 an hour all the time. So
hmm
that money gets spread, and now I only take clients 1 day a week behind the chair. So I tell them, like, if I was in it for money, I'd be working in a suite, or I'd be working for somebody, and I would be just taking my clients and just making a shitload of money. But instead, I have this fire in me to prove to the world that we can create a better salon environment, and then we can show other people how to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And so it's a passion project for me. So I think that's the biggest myth, is like, we're not counting our gold coins back here, okay? We are
Mm-mm.
not over here just raking it in. You really have to be in it for the right reasons. And when times get tough, you have to go back to your why and why you're doing this.
Yes.
And that's like how you keep going forward.
Yes. And we didn't even get to talk about yet your coaching and all of the resources, free resources that you give on your Instagram, like link in bio, and like the coaching that you do. So tell us about that, and how did that happen?
Yeah, I just had everybody asking me for advice. And I was like, okay, I can't, like, I'm running the salon. I'm like, I also have an Airbnb business. I'm like, I can't, I can't do all of this. Yes,
Right.
high five.
Yes.
I can't do
Yeah.
all of and like one-on-one with everybody. So I was
Mm.
like, okay, let me just like, because I'm very systemized. So everything in my business has a Google Doc written, everything's written out. Because I'm like, I need to know that if I disappear tomorrow, everything could continue on. Like, they could get into
Love
my
it.
Google account, and like everything there's a system for everything. So I'm like, oh, I'll just take my one-on-one document that I have with my stylist, and I'll put it on in my link in bio, and whoever wants to have better one-on-ones, you can download that. Or like just some basic hiring strategies. my monthly meeting formats. I just kind of throw anything up that I think might be useful or I've had people ask me about. I try to just give as much value because I'm trying to make a difference. And
Mhm.
so I really want there to be as much free access to anything to like help build a better beauty business.
Yeah. I love it. Which I was checking it out before we got on, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna go on there and I'm gonna download." I
Yay.
just love that kind of thing. I mean, obviously, right? We are both coaches in a way, and like personal development, growth, self-awareness, like keep me in check. Coaches need coaches. Just saying.
Yes, exactly.
So, what is an area of expertise that, or anything that you do that people just do not agree with you about?
Ooh, okay.
It could be anything, like personal, professional, anything.
Okay. Let's see. Don't agree with me about. I guess nobody's like ever outwardly said something to me about not agreeing, but I'm sure there's something that I do that people don't agree with. I mean, I guess I spend a lot of money on coaching and education. And I know maybe a lot of people out there would think like if you've arrived or you're at this level that like why would you still need work? Like maybe some people who haven't gotten to that self-awareness of like how can I trust somebody who's still learning themselves?
Mm,
But in reality, when it's like the learning
yeah,
never stops.
right.
And so I know a lot of my family that really pushed me to go to college. I'm like, I've spent a college like I've spent what would be equivalent for a college degree. I've just spent it on mentors, courses, coaches,
Hmm.
masterminds, things like that. And
Right.
so I think maybe other people and like that's part of the reason why we're not super profitable yet is because we're education junkies. So
Mm,
the business does pay for a lot of the education courses, things like that for us. And so maybe some people would be like, you shouldn't do that and you should pay yourself. Maybe that's how they would disagree with me. But in that way, I feel taken care of in when the salon is able to provide me a course or a mastermind access or things like that to better myself because that's truly where I have the most fun
I
is
love that.
working on myself and
Hmm.
becoming a better version.
That's beautiful. That is so beautiful. What is a question that you wish I would have asked you, and how would you have answered?
Ooh, okay. Um, let's see. Hmm. Okay, this one's just for funny, for comedic relief.
Okay.
Um, what is your uh like special talent?
Oh, okay. What is
And
it?
this one's funny, and it ties back to the TV show because when they were trying to figure out who was going to be the alternate, it was off camera, and it was all the producers and they separated the women from the men. And so all the girls for casting were in a room and the producers, and they asked us, what is a secret? And you had to stand up, introduce yourself, and tell them a secret. And I'm like, I don't think I have any secrets, like, especially none that I'm like willing to like just tell
Right,
everybody.
right.
Um, but and I was closer to the end and everybody was kind of trauma dumping. They'd be like, I was a survivor of domestic violence, or I was, ran away when I was 16. I mean, people were crying. I mean, it was a whole, and I was like, what do I say? Like, how do I measure up to that? And so I have this special talent, um, where I can mimic animal noises. And so I'm like a huge I'm a huge animal lover, like huge animal lover. And so I just like if we've been night out, I've been drinking with everybody, whatever, and everybody's going around, I'm like, I can make animal noises. That's kind of like my party trick. And so that's what I told them, the producers. I was like, I can mimic animal noises. So um I have like two species of birds that I can do, and they did put it in the show.
Oh my
Um,
God, I have to
just
watch this. I have to find these episodes.
hilarious.
Oh,
Yes. And so I did the birds for them, and I've tried to do it on a Zoom and it never came through properly. So I don't want to
no.
disappoint. The viewers are gonna have to go watch the show for the
Yes.
animal noises. But that's like my comedic relief for everybody is that have a little fun and
What are these
be a little
birds? What are the
I
birds?
totally bullshit them. Like I don't really know the species. I like on the show, they were asking me, I was like, this one's a juvenile mockingbird and this one is a dove. I'm like, I don't know what they are, but it's like one's more of like a coo and one's more of like a whistle.
Oh my
And
God.
so, yeah, I'm like, I don't really know what species they are, but they're two different sounds and they sound like birds. So that's my special talent. I can do a dog, but that one's highly embarrassing. The barking is highly embarrassing. I can do a good cat meow. I can do a very good moo, but the moo's also embarrassing. So yeah, that's an after hours conversation.
Absolutely. Okay. I love it so much. Oh my goodness, you guys, we are wrapping up today's episode with the fabulous Whitney Kilpatrick. Thank you for being here and sharing everything that you did with us today.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. It was so great connecting. I feel like we're already soul sisters, and I feel like
Totally.
we could talk for hours and hours. So I'd love to keep in touch with you.
Absolutely do. I always say this, like I would love to be able to like do a tour of like everybody who's come on and even some of my coaching clients. I love Texas. A lot of people in Kansas City. Like I would just love to go see everybody and just like hang out, but one day. But yes,
Yes,
connect, stay in touch.
yes, please. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. All right, guys, that's today. I'll talk to you soon. I feel like we could have chatted for so many more hours. I literally love Whitney, and I hope she totally does that Texas fashion talent show she was talking about so I can make my way out to Texas as a judge. I mean, hello. Until then, we'll settle here for the Beauty Pro podcast and read all of your feedback and your favorite moments of this episode of the Beauty Pro podcast. So tell me what you think in the DMs, tell her, and I'll chat you later. If you loved this episode, subscribe to the Beauty Pro podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts so you never miss an episode. Don't forget to leave your reviews, stars, feedback so I can continue bring the content you deserve and want most. Your feedback fuels this podcast. The more you give, the more you get back. You can follow me at The Beauty Pro Coach on Instagram and Facebook. Want to contact me directly? Email me at befree@goldentruthcoaching.com.